The Hyundai Sonata is one of the brand's bread and butter vehicles, selling over 200,000 units per year in the United States. It was also one of the first vehicles in Hyundai's lineup to start up the wave in stylish midsize sedans way back in 2011. Last fully redesigned in 2015, the Sonata is still one of the best midsize sedans you can buy. So let's go ahead and take a closer look at this 2017 Hyundai Sonata SE. Now, when Hyundai redesigned the Sonata back in 2015, they certainly took a more subtle approach in terms of its styling, but it is still one of the better looking mid-size sedans that you can buy. Now, we still get some pretty good looking 16-inch alloy wheels, and then on higher end trims of the Sonata, you can go for LED taillights, as well as quad exhaust tips and HID headlights. Now, the Sonata also shares the same platform with the Kia Optima, but the Optima, in my opinion, is the better looking one out of the two because it still retains its sleek styling, and this Optima was actually last redesigned in the 2016 model year. Now, our trim of the Sonata we have here is the SE trim level, and it's a step up above the base model, and it comes pretty well equipped with Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth, and you also do have a rear view camera. Now here goes the key fob design for the vehicle. Really nice looking key fob from Hyundai. At least they're not using their really dated key fob that they used to have a couple years ago. And then you have a switchblade key too, and you have your lock, unlock to release your trunk, and your panic button. Now this color is known as the Phantom Black. And then you also do have a full-on gray cloth interior. You have full manual driver's seat adjustments with manual recline. Alright, now stepping on into the Sonata here, the thing that really strikes you about this vehicle is how everything is very logically laid out, and it's a pretty simplistic looking design, but that's not necessarily a bad thing in a mid-size sedan. That's what many people are looking for, and there's just plenty of space inside of the Sonata compared to past generations. Feels very roomy inside of here. Now you can get push button ignition on higher end trims for the vehicle. And what you're hearing there is a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder. Coming to your transmission, nothing too out of the ordinary here. It's a 6-speed automatic with manual shift ability. When you put the vehicle into reverse, this will display your rear view camera, and you also do have guidance lines and trajectory. Pretty nice. Let's go ahead and cut on the headlights and turn on the hazards. Let's go ahead and check out the exterior of the vehicle. Then you have your automatic driver's side window. Pop the hood and check out the engine bay. Now, Hyundai offers one of the best warranties in the business with a 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain warranty. Can't beat that. 16-inch alloy wheels. Coming up front, we have halogen projector beam headlights. Can go for LED daytime running lights too. Powering the Sonata here is what most people are going to go for. It's a 2.4 liter gas direct injected 4-cylinder that produces 185 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 178 pound-feet of torque at 4,000 RPM, with EPA estimates being a pretty decent 25 in the city and 36 on the highway. Now, if fuel economy is a main concern for you in your midsize sedan, Hyundai also offers a hybrid model for the Sonata, and then there's also an eco model too. Now, the hybrid model doesn't come equipped with the 6-speed automatic transmission. And then if you want more power out of this vehicle, there's also a turbocharged 4-cylinder that you can get. However, the turbocharged 4-cylinder is a little down on power compared to some rivals optional powertrains, and some of the rivals offer optional V6s like the Honda Accord, Toyota Camry, the Chrysler 200, and the Nissan Altima. But most of the industry is going towards turbocharged 4-cylinders instead of V6s in midsize sedans. Base model Sonatas will run you around $21,600. The SE, like how we have here, it's not too much higher. You're looking at $21,950. And then the Eco, $23,125. The Sport, $23,400. And then the Sport 2.0 turbocharged 4-cylinder with the black leather, you're looking at $26,600. And then the Limited, $27,150. And then if you want the 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with the Limited trim, you're looking at $34,350. Not bad compared to some rivals. A lot of mid-size sedans are going into the higher 30s when you get a top-of-line trim, but the Sonata keeps it in the mid-30s. Now, the biggest change that they made to the Sonata for 2017 is that it does have a huge price cut compared to the 2016 models. And then competitors of the Sonata, you're looking at vehicles in the mid-size sedan class, of course. This includes the likes of the Toyota Camry, Honda Accord, Nissan Altima, Volkswagen Passat, Chevrolet Malibu, Chrysler 200, Ford Fusion. Lots of vehicles in this class. Rear window defroster, and you also do have a shark fin antenna. I love the exhaust tip too. I love the like squared off kind of design. Really stylish. And this is the parts content information. Now 1% is actually from China. That's pretty funny. And then Korea, 53%. There's no surprise there. Then US Canadian is 46%. Pretty interesting. And the final assembly point is actually in Alabama. And then EPA estimates are looking at 2536, like I said. Total vehicle price is $23,245. And then here goes the government 5-star safety ratings. Excellent crash test scores overall. Of course, you have your full power accessories, power windows, power door locks, power mirrors. Interior quality in the Sonata is on par with the rest of the midsize sedan class. Now, there are some cheap materials here and there, like on the mid-door panel. It's all hard touch plastic, and then on the upper door panel and on the armrest, it's all padded. And then up here, it's nice and softly padded too, except for on this portion. Overall, it's not too bad though. The build quality is excellent inside of the Sonata, much better than the last generation. Everything feels pretty sturdy inside of here, and there's no panel gaps or anything like that. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with the interior of the Sonata. Now, coming to the steering wheel design, the steering wheel design is fairly stylish. Now, you do have your steering wheel mounted audio controls, Bluetooth phone controls, and your voice recognition. And then over here, you will find your cruise control. There's also many high-end safety technologies that you can get on the Sonata, such as automatic braking. You can also go for adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, and blind spot detection. Up here, you also do have a manually dimming rearview mirror with the Hyundai Blue Link telematics system with SOS Safety Connect. And then you also do have your sunglass container and your map lights. And then down there you will find two 12-volt power outlets, and then your USB port with iPod integration. And this is the USB port that you use for the Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Then you also do have the auxiliary inputs. And if you want to look at Apple CarPlay, you can view my Apple CarPlay overview. It's on my YouTube channel. You also do have dual cup holders here, and then you have a little storage compartment right here. You can maybe use this as a little cell phone holder, which is nice. And then you have a slightly padded center console lid. Needs a little bit more padding. It's nice and stitched, but it feels very sturdy. There's barely any creaking, and it doesn't wiggle a lot like how it does in some cars. This is a really nice feeling center console lid. Then you also do have this removable tray, and there's a decent amount of space in the center console too. But what I really love about the Sonata's interior is how roomy it feels. There's lots of room, and the seats are just very comfortable. They are pretty much the perfect seats. They offer a pretty good amount of side bolstering, and they're nice and plush too. And thigh support is also excellent. Visibility in the Sonata is much better than in years past, and there's a decent amount of glass area on the front windows. The A-pillars are pretty thin, and it's pretty easy to see out of the windshield. When you get to rearward visibility, it's not the best in the mid-size sedan class, but it's much better than the last generation. It's pretty easy to see out of this vehicle overall, and most trims will come with a rear view camera. Now, even though the Sonata has a pretty simplistic design overall, it's a very functional design, and I really do love it. You have your AC controls that are very well laid out here. You have your dials for the fan speeds, the temperatures, and then you have your buttons for the different zones, front window defroster, rear window defroster, and your recycling mode. It's very easy to figure it out. And then coming to the gauges in the instrument cluster, it's a very traditional looking setup. On the left you have your tach and your coolant temperature. On the right you have your speedometer and your fuel gauge. In the center you will find your driver information center that shows you your fuel range, average fuel economy, what radio station is playing or what audio source is playing, and then you have your exterior temperature readout right there. Then you have your tire pressure, service intervals, then settings like the door, the lights, sound, convenience, and then other features too. Overall, it's a nice little driver information display. Coming to the main head unit, this is a pretty nice looking head unit for a more basic model. And you can go for a larger head unit, but this is a 7-inch touchscreen display here, and it works pretty well. Coming to all of your menus right here, you could swipe like this between the different menus, which is pretty cool, has a tablet-like feel. You have your radio, and your different audio sources do include all of the norm. You have your Sirius XM and your AM, FM, Bluetooth streaming audio, your auxiliary inputs, and your USB port with iPod integration, and you also do have HD radio. Really nice there. And you do have iTunes tagging as well. Then you have your Pandora, your phone.
Turn Bluetooth on from your device.
And then you have your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. We have to have the USB cord connected to your smartphone. And you have images, your Hyundai Blue Link, and then your voice commands set up. Many different settings that you could change here, from the Wi-Fi and then the connectivity, sound, display. And the responsiveness of this touchscreen is superb. It's very user-friendly here too. And you have your digital clock up there, it gives you the date. You have your apps and info, like the Sirius XM data, SoundHound, voice commands, Pandora, all that good stuff. You can also go for a full-on navigation system, but if you have Apple CarPlay and you have an iPhone, it pretty much makes the navigation system from Hyundai useless. Now, if you want to spicing up things on the interior a little bit, you can go for nice wood trim, and you can also get leather padding on the door panels and then have leather seats too. It's a much nicer looking interior when you go for the higher end trim levels, but no matter what trim you get, it's still a pretty functional design. Now, as far as the way the Sonata drives, the Sonata is much more refined than in years past, and it drives much like the 2016 Kia Optima, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It offers a very smooth, comfortable, and compliant ride. It's also very quiet inside too, especially at highway speeds. This is an excellent highway cruiser, and it really feels like a true Camry or Accord competitor in terms of the way it drives. Offers a decent amount of driver feedback, and you can put this thing around corners without it feeling like a heavy floaty boaty kind of sedan, but it's not particularly really sporty to drive compared to some competitors like the Mazda 6. The 6-speed automatic transmission never hesitates to shift. This is an excellent transmission here. And the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder certainly provides enough power for the vehicle, but if you want more power, go for that turbocharged 4-cylinder, but some rivals do offer more power with their V6 engines. But there's also pretty good fuel economy when driving this vehicle too. And overall, the Sonata is just a pleasure to drive. I really love driving the Sonata. It's very refined and very comfortable. Alright, and I'm gonna go ahead and shut down the vehicle. Let's go ahead and check out the rest of the Hyundai Sonata. Interior quality does follow through in the rear of the vehicle. However, it's hard touch on the upper door panel, and it's still soft touch on the armrest. Slightly padded, actually. Now, sitting back here in the Sonata, there's plenty of legroom back here. It's very competitive when it comes to rear seat legroom compared to some other mid-size sedans. Headroom is also decent too, much better than the last generation Sonata. Used to have that sloping roof line, so you kind of had to duck when you got into the vehicle for taller passengers. And there's just a lot more headroom this time around. You also do have dual map pockets, 12-volt power outlet, and adjustable headrests are also back here except for the middle seat. And then you have a rear center armrest with cup holders. And the seats themselves are just like the front ones. They're very comfortable and they offer a decent amount of thigh support. Overall, it's a very comfortable experience back here. And on higher end trims, you can go for heated rear seats. You can also go for manual rear sunshades, which is nice. Overall, it's a very pleasant experience. Love how the trunk opens all the way up too. You have a cargo net, and these rear seats do fold down 60-40 split. It's a pretty large trunk too. Full manual passenger seat. Glove box compartment. So the 2017 Hyundai Sonata is an excellent choice for a mid-size sedan. With its roomy and comfortable interior, its excellent value with many features for the money, and its wide array of powertrains. So remember that this is Cameron Birch from Cameron's Car Reviews.